Welcome to the JP8 report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 report, episode 316. Good afternoon, everybody. 12 o'clock in Texas Standard Time. That's what they should call it. Man, my phone's like going off the hook right now. Border Patrol agents who fatally shot Alex placed on administrative leave. Okay, yeah, I knew about that. All right, sometimes they get notifications late and stuff. Welcome to the JP8 report. So if you are watching me and you're not already a follower of the JP8 report, do me a favor, click that follow button, and then next door to it, click that little thumbs up button and give me a like. I really appreciate it. And also, if you're watching, feel free to chat with me. I got my buddy here, retired Rob 53. He's my, I guess, the principal. But he'll engage you and talk to you also. And then I will too, within reason. I got 3 different screens I can look and see chats and stuff on here. So we can go that route also. And then don't forget to share. So what do we do now? Oh yeah, I'm lost. Lost in the sauce. All right, so let's go. We got to do our America. So there's been all kinds of breaking news since I did my early edition this morning. The big one is, the big one is that while the president was speaking at the Trump accounts ceremony this morning, he let it loose that he was directing the EPA director, Lee Zeldin, to take over the permitting process out by the Palisades fire area where they had a huge fire last January, and he will lead the effort to get people building their houses again, because evidently, I've even said it here, and I've heard it other places, the process is so good for nothing slow that hardly anyone, I think they said, out of the hundreds and hundreds of homes that were destroyed, like 3 homes have been partially rebuilt so far, because the permit process is so slow, no one can get anywhere with it. And then people are like, I'm not coming back. I mean, I wouldn't go back either. But the president said there's a clause in a law that says the EPA director can take over the process for bids in a national disaster area or something like that. And the president said he's going to sign an EO authorizing him to do that. So that was the big news that came out about an hour ago. And then also San Jose State was told by the United States government they violated Title IX on a transgender athlete issue. All right, so that's what's going on so far, along with everything else. So let's get started with the JP8 report. We're going to do our America 250. America 250 is a letter from George Washington, the Navy Captain John Manley, for 28 January 1776. I received your agreeable letter on the 26th, giving an account of your having taken and carried into Plymouth 2 of the enemy's transports. Your conduct in engaging the 8-gun schooner with so few hands as you went out with, your attention in securing your prizes, and your general good behavior since you first engaged in the service merits mine and your country's thanks. You may be assured that every attention will be paid to any reasonable request of yours, and that you shall have the command of a stronger vessel of war. But as it will take up some time before such a one can be fitted out, my desire is that you continue in the Hancock until the end of the cruise. When that is out, you will come to headquarters, and we will confer together on the subject of another ship. Well, I like how this letter's going. I wish you could engage men at Plymouth to take your complement of at least 40 strong. It would enable you to encounter the small tenders that may fall in your way. Though I would rather have you avoid an engagement till you have a ship that will place you upon a more equal footing with your enemy. I need not recommend you to proceed again and pursue your good fortune. I wish you could inspire the captains of the other armed schooners under your command with some of your activity and industry. Cannot you appoint such stations for them? There they may be a best chance for intercepting supplies going to the enemy. They dare not disobey your orders, as it is mentioned in the instructions I have given to each of them that they are under your command as Commodore, and such I desire that you will give them such instructions in writing as to you will appear proper and for the good service. I am, sir, wishing you a continued success. That is a promotion letter and an awards letter, if I've ever seen one. This is a really good. This is one of those letters that you go and you staple, frame it and hang it up on the wall, that everyone, when they come into your office or your house, they see it. That's a glowing letter. I would like to see the original. I mean, this is from founders.gov, but I would love to see this original letter written out. All right, so now I'm hungry because I got to talk about the Dalmatian Burger Group. These guys make smash burgers and dogs in Copper's Cove. All their ingredients are homemade and fresh, including the buns. And they're open for lunch Tuesday through Saturday, 11 to 2, and they're open for dinner. Strike that. They're open for lunch Monday through Saturday, 11 to 2, and for dinner Tuesday through Saturday, 5:30 to 7, unless they've already sold out. And they're located on the west side of Copper's Cove, in behind Bush's Chicken. Boy, I'm doing everything to try to keep strike around here. Okay. So we'll get talking a little bit about the rebuild effort in just a minute. All right. Don't forget to hit that like button, and don't forget to chat with us. Rob is itching to start typing. All right. Get over here. All right. So, first thing we want to talk about in Virginia. So, you know, Abigail Spanberger, she listed her communist manifesto, that what they're planning to do in Virginia, and one of them was redistricting. So they tried, and a judge said, "Oh no, you don't." So, a Virginia Circuit Court judge has struck down a General Assembly approved redistricting amendment, ruling lawmakers overstepped their authority during a 2024 special legislative session and violated constitutional requirements tied to elections and voter notice. In a sweeping ruling on issue Tuesday, Tazewell County Circuit Court Judge Jack S. Hurley Jr. invalidated actions taken to advance the proposed constitutional amendment, blocking it from moving forward and barring it from being submitted to voters. The lawsuit focused on whether lawmakers could take up a redistricting-related constitutional amendment during a special session initially convened to address budget matters. We'll have a council meeting, but we won't. We'll put something on there when that's not already on the agenda type deal, which is wrong in Texas. And I guess it's wrong in Virginia too. And whether the General Assembly followed its own rules when expanding the scope of the session. Certainly, both houses of the Commonwealth's legislature are required to follow their own rules and resolution, Hurley wrote. Hurley found lawmakers improperly added redistricting to a list of issues, allowing the special session without the required unanimous consent or supermajority vote. As a result, the court ruled that a joint resolution proposing changes on how congressional and legislative districts are drawn fell outside the limits lawmakers themselves set when the special session was called. The court finds that adding a joint resolution proposing an amendment to the Constitution of Virginia related to the reapportionment or redistricting violated the General Assembly's own call to the governor for the 2024 special session, and the court orders, all caps, that any such action is void ab initio. Hurley wrote. I have no idea what that Latin means. All right? If you know Latin and you know what ab initio means, tell me. Chat it over to me, please. All right. And then the decision also addressed when a constitutional amendment may be validated, advance under Virginia law, rejecting arguments that an election occurs only on the election day rather than during early voting. Hurley noted that more than 1 million Virginians had already cast a ballot in the 2025 House of Delegates elections before lawmakers voted on the amendment. For this court to find the election was only on November 4th, 2025, those 1 million Virginia voters would be completely disenfranchised. He makes a really good point there. And then the ruling further found lawmakers failed to comply with the state law requiring proposed constitutional amendments to be publicly posted and published ahead of the next election, which was that. So when states have these elections and they push early voting out to a month and a half, this is what interferes, right? So just so you know, because those steps were not taken, the court rules votes cast during the 2026 regular session could not count as the constitutional required second approval. Therefore, the court finds, all caps, that the provisions of the Code of Virginia have not been complied with, and therefore all votes on the proposed constitutional amendment are ineffective as being a, all caps, second vote of the General Assembly, Hurley wrote. Hurley issued both temporary and permanent injunctions blocking further action on the amendment. The court delivers a major setback to lawmakers seeking to alter Virginia's redistricting process and underscores limits on the legislative power during special sessions. So, yeah, that's right. You have to follow the letter of the law. This shows that these Democrats that thought they were in charge did not understand the legislative process that occurs in Virginia. They should have known that or they were trying to squeak it through and people wouldn't notice that when, according to Virginia, if early voting had already started, they could not call for a second vote for approval because people had already voted for their state offices. So my hat's off to that judge. He did really good. And that takes a little bit back. I think they were trying to erase 2 more Republican seats out of the House of Representatives. I think that's what they were trying to do. Now they can't. All right. Now we got to just wait on an approval from the Supreme Court, I believe, on California. All right. So I'll put this over here. One thing also I wanted to talk about before we went further was, the day is the 40th anniversary of the Challenger disaster. Because on January 28th, 1986, while I was a junior in high school, the Space Shuttle Challenger blew up 46,000 feet above Cape Canaveral. There were 7 astronauts on board. It happened 73 seconds after launch. It was carrying the first teacher to go in outer space. That was Kristen McAuliffe. And all of them were killed. And it was the first time in the history of the United States that we actually lost astronauts in space itself. We launched Gus Grissom and the 2 other astronauts on Apollo 9, but they were on the launch pad doing a test launch, right? So, just so we know, the astronauts that were in there that died was Dick Scobie, it was Michael J. Smith, it was Ronald McNair, it was Ellison Onizuka, Judith Resnick, Gregory Jarvis, and Kristen McAuliffe were all killed. I was a junior in high school. I was 17 years old. I was going into architecture class, and our teacher brought a radio to class, and we didn't believe him when he first told us that the space shuttle exploded, because he never brings the radio to class because he wanted us to concentrate on doing our architecture and then wood shop also. And yes, it did happen. It took him 2 times to tell us. And when he plugged the radio in and put it on WBAP, that's the big AM radio station in Dallas-Fort Worth. That's when we learned that it actually happened. But that was 40 years ago today. And it was a really sad day, right? It was really sad. That stuff, you can ask my family. I'm more than just a history degree holder. Because that's how I do the America 250 stuff also. But I love space. Space, I got a telescope. I love looking at stars and planets. That stuff is awesome. One of my favorite movies is Ad Astra. I love that one, right? Even though I know it's fictitious, but I still like it. So that was 40 years ago today. I cannot believe it's been that long. I'm 57 years old. Wow. All right. So next is we'll talk about President Autopin. All right. So President Autopin decided he wanted to jump into the arena of politics. And he spoke out against the immigration crackdown in Minnesota. The same immigration crackdown that he allowed to happen for 4 years under his administration. The hundreds of thousands upon millions of people that tracked through my state of Texas and Arizona and New Mexico and I said them out of order, and California, and then flew in and came by boat with very little interaction with our government. And now we're dealing with the ramifications, right? So Joe Biden decided he wanted to put his foot in his mouth and talk about the crackdown in immigration that we got going on in our country right now. Former President Otto Penn is speaking out against the federal immigration crackdown in Minnesota, saying it betrays our most basic values as Americans. Full stop. Wait a minute. I'm not even going to open up the Constitution, but there's something about the Constitution that says the securing our country. I don't know exactly where it is, but it's in there. And the oath against all enemies, foreign and domestic. So when you let an invading force of undocumented people cross our borders unimpeded, and we have no clue who they are, because the vast majority of these people actually dropped their identification before they crossed the Rio Grande. Who are they? Unless they've been fingerprinted and photographed inside the United States, in which many of them already were, we have no clue whatsoever these people are. And he had the audacity saying it betrays our most basic values as Americans. What about the Americans that have been slaughtered in the streets from these criminals that came illegally into our country, and from these criminals who brought fentanyl and other drugs into our country and destroyed the lives and the human beings that lost their lives at the cost of all these fentanyl drugs that were brought in our country? Betrays our most basic values as Americans. He probably doesn't even understand what that statement meant to what he... This is ridiculous. Totally ridiculous. He should have just kept his mouth shut and sniffed some more hair and rubbed some more shoulders and then camped out on the beach in Delaware. I've had it with him. During his 2024 re-election campaign, then former President Donald Trump argued that Biden and his border czar, then Vice President Kamala, can spend $1.7 billion and lose Kamala Harris, failed to secure the border, effectively allowing unprecedented illegal immigration into the U.S. that posed a national security threat. Trump had promised a mass crackdown on deportations of criminal illegal aliens. Let me talk about one other thing. There was a movie called Red Dawn, right? And the original Red Dawn, the one from 1983. And when Powers Booth, Major Tanner, was briefing the Wolverines on how everything happened, he talked about infiltrators that come across the borders of Texas and infiltrated SAC bases and caused all kinds of havoc. I'm here to tell you, that's what he was saying. This is the same situation that can happen in our country easily. We still have millions of people in our country illegally. We have no idea who they are or where they're at. Now, Biden is calling out the Trump administration's actions after the fatal shootings of 2 U.S. citizens in Minneapolis. Okay, so President Otto Penn said, "We are not a nation that guns down our citizens in the streets. We are not a nation that allows our citizens to be brutalized for exercising their constitutional rights. We are not a nation that tramples the Fourth Amendment and tolerates our neighbors being terrorized." He wrote that on an X. I didn't even know he had an X account. Maybe someone wrote it for him. But we don't only criminals gun down citizens in our streets. We are not a nation that allows citizens to be brutalized or exercising their constitutional rights. Nowhere in the Constitution does it say you can riot. It says you can protest. It does not say you can riot, and it doesn't say you can interdict in the federal authority of the U.S. government. That's what these people are doing. They're still doing it, and they're trying it again. In March 28th, these stupid people that organized the No Kings protest, they're planning a No Kings 3 protest on March 28th. And they said, we're going to get 9 million people out there to protest the government. I don't think they will. The former president, President Ottopan, called on Americans to stand up and speak out against the conduct of federal immigration enforcement in Minnesota. Now, justice requires full, fair, and transparent investigations into the death of the 2 Americans who lost their lives in the city they called home. So, does that mean justice requires a full, fair, and transparent investigations on who organized the rioters, who funded them, and who developed the signal chat rooms that had all the people in so they could tell who, when, where, what, and why at any given notice, so they can go out and impede on ICE from apprehending a violent, criminal, illegal aliens to get them out of our country. It's good questions, though, right? I'm not even going to finish reading this one because this is crazy. We were in Germany when we saw the space shuttle. I was in Fort Worth, Texas, Rob. I was too young to be in Germany. All right. I'm glad you're feeling better, though, man. So we will belay that one. Let me cross. President Ottopan thinks he knows about immigration. Man. Let's read a fun one about the military, right? So, evidently, there are Chinese spies doing sham marriages with sailors so they can spy on us, right? A former CIA operative says that a recent alleged sham marriage scandal involving U.S. naval sailors marrying Chinese citizens exposes a targeted national security threat focus on major U.S. naval base, potentially open the door to foreign spies. According to court documents, Jacinth Bailey and Morgan Chambers, both naval sailors based in Jacksonville, Florida, were charged with 1 count of conspiracy to commit marriage fraud after they allegedly accepted thousands of dollars from Chinese nationals in order to enter the sham marriages. Both Bailey and Chambers allegedly took part in a plot where American citizens would marry Chinese nationals for the sole purpose of getting green cards, according to Stars and Stripes. Bailey was assigned to the USS Dwight D. Eisenhower aircraft carrier as an aviation bosun's mate. According to federal prosecutors, Bailey even attended a party after the sham wedding in order to substantiate its purported legitimacy by taking pictures to be used for immigration application purpose. The plot dates back to September 2024, a year and a half ago, and involves several other unnamed individuals who are called conspirators in the indictment. So, in Bailey's case, she was offered, oh wow, that's a she, okay. She was offered $45,000. Usually it's male marrying a female spy. In Bailey's case, she was offered a total of $45,000 for entering into the sham marriage, obtaining a green card for her husband, and divorcing him, according to prosecutors, federal prosecutors, including $10,000 that was offered up front. And in Chambers, according to the court documents, was offered $35,000. I guess he just wanted to get married. For the sham marriage, which included obtaining a green card and getting a divorce. And notably, the scheme specifically preferred to target members of the military to join the conspiracy and marry Chinese nationals, the prosecutor. Okay, so when you're in the Army, these people are in the Navy. Anytime, well, let's put it like this. You can marry an American. You can marry a Mexican. You can marry a Chinese. You can marry a Brazilian, all right? As long as your papers are in order and it's legitimate. If you get caught, you're toast. I mean, this is talking about civilian court. Usually you get court-martialed. Maybe because it involved potential spies and stuff. But yeah, they brief you when you do your BAH stuff, when you get your marriage certificate and stuff, and they advise you of not entering into a sham marriage to make sure that y'all are living together, that it's an actual marriage, and not just defrauding the U.S. government out. Sometimes you could, like in Dallas, an E5 BAH is the equivalent of a brigadier general's BAH down here at Fort Hood. They over $2,000. You can make a mint and just divide it up 50-50 or whatever else. And then when you get close to PCS, I'm divorcing you, and you divorce. Well, CID can still investigate you and your marriage and make sure it was a legitimate thing. These people actually went the extra mile and took pictures to try to prove the point that they were actually married, and they weren't really, right? If Rob was still on there monitoring, I don't know if y'all ever encountered people like that did the sham marriages for BAH. A way to get to the United States as a foreign national, get your green card, and then disappear once you get to the States. All right, that was wow. All right, so next is we'll go to that headline about what the president was talking about with executive order, right? First, give me a second here, and I am going to make sure if there is an article about what he was saying. Let's see. Ooh, breaking news. FBI conducts search at Fulton County Election Center in ongoing investigation. Wow. Okay, and there's a one at St. John's State University trans scandal prompts federal consequences as Trump administration delivers verdict. Okay, but that's not the one I'm looking for. I'm looking one for Lee Zeldin. Wonder if it even made it on her. I don't see it on there. So I'm going to have to shoot from the hip. Yeah, I'm going to have to shoot from the hip from it, guys. Okay, cause I heard enough of it. So, like I was saying at the very beginning of the show, that the president was saying there's a clause in the law that allows him to designate the EPA director as someone that directs the permitting process in cases of a state of emergency, in which that's what the fire situation was called at the Lake Palisades and Malibu and Brentwood areas and stuff, where all those hundreds of homes was done. And Mayor Karen Bass and what's his name, Gavin Newsom, the future non-presidential candidate, said within a year everyone's going to be rebuilt. They're going to leave no stone unturned, and the whole process will be ready to go. And hardly anything has happened. And the president said this morning he's tired of waiting. He's tired of waiting for people to get in homes. And he said they found a clause in the law, and they're going to exercise it. And he said, I'm telling y'all today that Lee Zeldin is going to be in charge because they found the law. And I guess I have an article here from yesterday that they were talking about something like that, but they did not let the cat out of the bag until this morning. But he did sign an executive order. President Trump is sidelining thumb-wielding California Democrats, with an executive order aimed at fast-tracking the rebuilding of Los Angeles a year after devastating wildfires torched entire city blocks and left thousands homeless. I want to see if I can take over a city. I want to see if we can take over the city and the state and just give the people their permits they want to build. Trump told the California Post, which is a new newspaper, Friday in an exclusive Oval Office interview when he signed a 7-page order. Trump pointed the finger at Gavin Newsom and Los Angeles Mayor Karen Big Bass for the painfully slow rebuilding process of homes ravaged by the January 2025 Pacific Palisades and Eden fires, two of the most destructive blazes in LA history. Wildfires destroyed approximately 16,000 structures, but Los Angeles City and County officials have only issued 2,600 permits to rebuild so far. In all, less than 15% of all the homes destroyed by the fire have received necessary approvals to move forward. That's not fully recovered, that's just to move forward. Trump's order is designated to preempt the building permit process and empower the federal government to maneuver around needless obstacles imposed by Democratic leaders. The order calls out the nightmare delays and bureaucratic malaise of the California state and local levels. And you wonder why yesterday I was saying they're losing 4 congressional seats by 2032. That is the reason why. Jessica Rogers, a Pacific Palisades resident who lost everything in the wildfires, burst into tears of joy when she learned the federal government was stepping in to pick up the slack. We're so desperate. We really need the help. We cannot do this on our own. Our state's not capable. Our city's not capable. This is not something that requires a village. It requires a nation. We need our federal government to come in, she told the Post. Rogers not only lost her home, she lost her income. She even found out her insurance company had illegally dropped her after the deadly blaze. The city of Los Angeles is completely broke, incapable of managing their own city, and they cannot possibly be tasked in this disaster on their own, she said. The federal government and the Newsom administration has already embroiled in a spate of legal battles, including sanctuary state policies and restarting oil pipelines. Trump, a former real estate developer, has said he was compelled to step in after touring the fire damage a year ago with First Lady Melania Trump and seen the devastation firsthand. He said he was shocked to see it that even a year later, there's nobody building. And then that is tremendous. We're already at 12:40. Wow. All right. So Lee Zeldin's in charge. Lee Zeldin's in charge, and so hopefully this is good progress. Okay, so give me a second here. I'm going to read for us. There we go. You've probably noticed Rumble is growing fast and it's not slowing down. They're building a real alternative to big tech that puts creators first and actually protects free speech. And now there's Rumble Premium, an easy way to upgrade your experience with Premium. You get ad-free viewing across the platform, no pre-rolls, no interruptions, just content you came for. Plus, Premium members unlock exclusive content like bonus videos, behind-the-scene drops, and more from your favorite creators. Right now, Rumble is offering $10 off annual subscription. Just go to rumble.com/premium and use the promo code STUDIO, STUDIO, at checkout. That's rumble.com/premium, promo code STUDIO. No ads, more freedom, and content you can actually care about. That's the deal. All right. So I use Rumble Premium all the time. I love it. I do Rumble Premiums right here, do my stuff. It's a good investment. I've had Rumble Premium for several years now. All right. So, and if you want to enjoy Rumble Premium, like with me and Crowder and Graham Allen, we all do Rumble Premiums. Go for it, right? It's worth it. All right. So meanwhile, back at the ranch. All right. So what we got here is, I read that one. So that one right there. Okay. So the next one is, this is the fun one. This is about Minnesota. All right. So I got a slide to show y'all in just a second. Let me tee it up. There we go. All right. So several of the agitators outside of Minnesota hotel where they believe Border Patrol Commander Gregory Bavino was staying, have criminal records, with one arrestee openly embracing a disrupt, disturb, resist slogan on Instagram. The agitators were outside the Spring Hill Suites by Marriott in Maple Grove, Minnesota on Monday night, where they were thought Bavino was staying. Arrests were made after authorities said the demonstration was no longer considered peaceful and declared it an unlawful assembly. Maple Grove said that officers were responding to reports of a protest at a hotel, adding that it had escalated when agitators began damaging property and throwing objects at officers. Several people were arrested after they allegedly did not leave once the assembly and dispersal order was issued, officials said. So it was really cool. So yesterday morning I was watching the news. They were talking about this, and they went to video, and they showed Minnesota State Patrol and the Maple Grove Police on the loudspeaker said, "You are all under arrest," and they rushed them and started arresting them. So some of the people that were arrested were these people. They're a combination of 20s and 30-something peoples. There are people that are girls. There are guys that think they're girls. There are trans people in there. And no, but there's more than just one page. There's 2 pages. And in some of them, hey, we have the nose ring mafia right there, right? Like nose ring, lip ring, a double nose ring, a nose ring, another nose ring, another nose ring. All right? So, you see what I'm talking about? These are the model people of our society. Aren't they great? Aren't you proud of these people? I'm not. My kids would never do something like that. Man. So, and it's still flipping. Okay. So, so a couple of the people. Here's Justin Neil Shelton. Okay, I'll go back to it. Justin is this guy right here. Okay. Justin Neal was arrested on charges of obstructing the legal process. In 2007, that's 19 years ago, Shelton pleaded guilty to a charge of first-degree aggravated robbery after prosecutors said he beat up a pregnant woman while he and another individual were trying to steal her car. When the woman asked Shelton and another person to leave, they knocked her into the ground and kept kicking her. She was pregnant. Even striking her with a bottle. And then the baby was not harmed. She was very lucky. He spent 5 years in prison, and at sentencing, he apologized for his role in the attack. First of all, I want to say how sorry I am, even though I was intoxicated at the time. That is not justify my wrongdoing. Yeah, okay. And in October 2020, Shelton was convicted of possessing a firearm or ammunition after committing a violent crime. A model person society. Let's see. Oh yeah, okay. The guy next to him. We'll go back to the paper, to the picture. This guy right here. Okay, take a good look at him. Okay, so we'll go back. Okay, so his name is Abraham Nielsen Coleman, 45 years old, arrested on charges of damage to property. Previously, Coleman was convicted of the following crimes since 2003, right? Theft, felony theft, damage to property, and theft. Like another model person in society. Let's see. There's a couple more. Let's see if there's any more great models here. Okay, riot, disrupt, disturb, resist on her Instagram. Wow. Okay, where's this girl at? Hold on just a second. Where is she? Oh, okay. So we go back, and this girl right here, right? Her name is Josephine J. Gebelu, 37, arrested on charges of riot. She was escorted out of a U.S. Senate hearing in September after she allegedly disrupted the hearing and accused committee members of being complicit in genocide in Israel, according to Democracy Now! Okay. Let's see. Are there any more really models? A lot of these are for rioting. There's this old guy. Nope. All these are mainly riot. First time offenders are getting ready to go be sent down river. Okay, so we're good on those people. All right, so I just want to give you all an idea of how some of these people are and stuff, okay? All right, so next. The president said, Melania Trump rang in the Dow Jones this morning. I don't know how good it's doing. Let's see if she brought him any luck. Okay, so there, and then we type in Dow. The Dow Jones is at 48. It's only lost 8 points today, 9 points. So, okay. So it's not really doing much. All right, so we'll go back to here. All right, so we got that done. And then President Trump said it's too late to stop the ballroom construction. As my daughter sent a text, said, how's their ice still on with it being so warm out? Ask your sister. So there's a group of people trying to sue the president on rebuilding the ballroom that they're building on the east wing of the White House, and he said it's too late. They've already torn out the east wing, and they're rebuilding it. But this group of people are attempting to stop him from building it. All right. If you want me to read a portion of it, so President Trump said Sunday, that it's too late to halt construction of a new ballroom at the White House despite newly filed lawsuit challenging the project. And he said on True Social, it was a gift, zero taxpayer funding, an estimated cost of $300 million, and saying it was financed through private donations. Trump said the lawsuit was brought by the National Trust for Historic Preservation, citing the group for filing it after construction was already underway. Like they were trying to embarrass the president. That's what they were trying to do. Okay, we'll talk about that last. Right here. President telling Iran to watch out because we have an armada closing in into the waters of the Arabian Gulf and the Arabian Sea and the Persian Gulf area. All right, so let me go back over here. Okay, so President Trump urged Iran to come to the table as the U.S. deploys a massive armada to the region on Saturday. Trump confirmed that the USS Abraham Lincoln and his strike group are deploying as a direct threat to the Iranian regime. The president said a major attack may be necessary of the Ayatollah Ali Khomeini. Said regime does not make a deal with the U.S. A massive armada is heading to Iran. It's moving quickly with great power, enthusiasm, and purpose. It is a larger fleet headed by the great aircraft carrier Abraham Lincoln, rather than send it to Venezuela. Like with Venezuela, it is ready, willing, and able to rapidly fulfill its mission with speed and violence if necessary, Trump wrote on True Social. Hopefully, Iran will quickly come to the table and negotiate a fair and equitable deal. No nuclear weapons, all caps. One that is good for all parties. Time is running out. It is truly of the essence. As I told Iran once before, make a deal, all caps. They didn't, and there was Operation Midnight Hammer, a major destruction of Iran. The next attack will be far worse. Don't make that happen again, he added. My suggestion is, don't make it happen again. stop shooting those civilians and stuff. That's and this was just printed off last night. Leave the civilians alone. It's time to leave. It is time to leave and go. I know this is your ancestral homeland, but if you look through the history of Iran or Persia, they were friendly people. They were friendly people. Cyrus and the other kings that were there. Just, you can read it in the Bible, you can see, not Nebuchadnezzar, the ones afterward, okay? But don't mess with the U.S. Like they say, FO, you'll find out really fast if you want to mess around with the U.S. and we're going to have the firepower there. Don't keep slaughtering civilians. At the same time, my advice to the civilians, figure out how to fight back and win, right? We're not the 911 force of the world. You got to learn how to. We fought our war of independence and won. Now it's time for you to stand up and do the same thing. And we were mildly outgunned also. So don't play that game. There was, if you listen to my America 250 stuff, you see that over the course of time, we struggled to have enough weapons and powder to be able to even fight the Brits, and money to pay soldiers to keep them enlisted. You had soldiers that would just walk off and go home after their enlistments ended, right, without any pay. So I got stuff to carry on till tomorrow, man. Okay, so no chatters? Come on, guys. I thought Rob was going to have some work to do. Come on, someone say something to good old Rob there and me. All right, I've been talking a whole bunch of stuff on here today. So the next thing I want to talk about really quick is our Lincoln Reagan dinner. I put the link of this in the comments section of the podcast. It's going to happen on the 21st of February. It starts at 6 p.m. in Gatesville, Texas, at the Texas Station Event Center. It's on Old Fort Gates Road. The attire's country chic. I mean, jeans, nice button down, cowboy hat. Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick's going to be there. So you can scan the QR code that's on the screen right now, or you can actually go and, you can go to the comments section of the podcast and click on the link there, and you can buy your tickets. You can buy a single ticket for $60, a couple's ticket for $100, and then you can buy VIP tickets like for different tables, preferred tables. I know as of last night, there were only 2 preferred tables left to sell, and then there's the regular bronze, silver, and gold tables that are available also. All right, so get all one of us. You can message me if you want, and I can get the information for you if that's what you were looking for. But February 21st at 6 p.m. is the Lincoln Reagan dinner, and our keynote speaker is Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick. All right. I don't think I'm going to do any premium today, so we'll continue to talk a little bit about upcoming events for the Republican Party in this area of Texas, right? So I just told you about the Lincoln Reagan dinner. This coming Saturday at 9:30, there's going to be a forum at Trinity Worship Center. It's 1802 Martin Luther King in Coppers Cove. It starts at 9:30. It's with the Coryell County Republican Women. And then that evening, the West Side Conservative Coalition with Dennis Faulkner, I know he watches this sometimes, he will, we're having his meeting at the First Assembly of God in Harker Heights off of Harley, right? at 6 p.m. That's both of those are makeups for Monday and Saturday, right? So that is those are open, and then February 7th is the voters forum from the Republican Party. That's going to be at Trinity Worship Center in Coppers Cove at 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. And then February 9th in Gatesville at the Gatesville Civic Center, there's going to be another forum, and it's going to be at 6 p.m., and that's from the Republican Party also, right? The Coryell County Republican Party. And then 8 days later is the, the Lincoln Reagan, 12 days later, I'm sorry. All right. So those are upcoming events. And then February 2nd, which is Monday, is the deadline for being registered to vote, so you can vote on the March 3rd primary day. All right. Are there any other questions right now? Because how long have we been on? We've been on an hour and 2 minutes. Wow. All right. So get that all done. Get that. All right. So yeah, I'll talk about this in the morning. Yeah. All right. So what I got going on today at 3 o'clock, which is 2 hours from now, I'm going to be interviewing Richard Sapp. He is trying to become the Justice of the Peace in Salado. I think it's Precinct 2, Place 2, I think. I'm not sure. I got his stuff already built. But yeah, I'm going to be doing him this afternoon, right? Then I got church tonight. All right. So any other questions, comments? I really appreciate everyone tuning in today. It was really good. Thank you for the amount of people that were watching the podcast today. I wish I had a few more chatters in there. You still got some time in there if you want to ask a question. Go for it. I'm here. I'm not premium right now. I know I did the Rumble premium ad read a while ago to get people. You got time to get the Rumble premium going, and then tomorrow I will do a Rumble premium. I might read some of Common Sense. All right. So we will. You want me to? You know what? I'm going to read another ad read. Okay, since I got enough people still here, and watch it. You'll like this one. All right. So, looking for a comfortable but unique option for your gaming setup, check out TechnosportUSA.com with a wide range of ergonomic chairs in an array of colors. You will definitely bring your setup to the next level. Always comfy, never boring. Technosport. Use code RUMBLE for 10% off your entire order. That would be TechnisportUSA.com, and and use the code RUMBLE and you get 10% off. All right. That's cool because I'm looking to get one of those also. All right. So let me show you my stuff here. These are my socials at X, James Pierce Jr. I'm on Facebook at James A. Pierce Jr. I'm on YouTube. I'm on the JP8 Report 67. I'm on True Social at James A. Pierce. And my email address is jp8report@gmail.com. All right? So that is the JP8 report for today. All right? I know there's going to be a whole lot of breaking news out there. So I should probably have a busy day tomorrow. And you know, I just meant to tell you, Rob, he did me and my wife a favor. He bought us all tickets to go see Melania on Friday evening. So there, I don't think I'm going to do a Rumble Premium that evening. Well, I might, but I gotta pick them up at 4 p.m. So we're going to go all the way to Harker Heights to see Melania. All right, I'm looking forward to that. We already got the tickets. We just got to get some snacks and go for it. All right. So, any other thing before we leave? I will see you all at 6:30 tomorrow morning. Right, 6:30 Central Time. Right, getting prepared for Dan Bongino next Monday. That would be great. All right. So this is James Pierce with the JP8 report. I'll catch you on the flip side. I am out.